In the year 2784, humanity had become a force to be reckoned with. Earth was no longer just a single planet, but the heart of an interstellar empire that stretched across dozens of star systems. Human colonies dotted distant worlds, and their ships patrolled vast regions of space. But this rapid expansion did not go unnoticed by the rest of the galaxy. The United Galactic Council, UGC, an alliance of advanced alien species, watched humanity's rise with growing unease. To them, humans were unpredictable, too aggressive, too ambitious, and unwilling to follow the rules that governed interstellar relations for centuries. Fearing that humanity's unchecked growth could destabilize galactic peace, the UGC decided it was time to act. A delegation of alien diplomats arrived on Earth, seeking to negotiate a formal peace agreement. Their proposal was simple yet comprehensive. Humanity would agree to limit its territorial expansion, submit to UGC oversight, and disarm certain weapon systems deemed provocative. In return, they promised access to advanced alien technology, trade partnerships, and protection under the Council's laws. It seemed like a fair deal, or so the aliens thought. But when the proposals were presented to Earth's leaders, something unexpected happened. Without hesitation, without debate, humanity rejected every single offer. Not one condition was accepted. The decision came swiftly and unanimously, leaving the alien envoys stunned. How could an entire species refuse such generous terms? Were humans truly so arrogant, or was there another reason? News of the rejection spread quickly across the galaxy. Alien leaders gathered in emergency sessions, trying to make sense of humanity's defiance. Some accused Earth of harboring hidden ambitions, while others speculated that humans might possess secret weapons far more powerful than anything the UGC had seen before. Rumors swirled, painting humanity as either reckless warmongers or cunning strategists playing a game no one else understood. Back on Earth, the reaction was equally intense, but very different. Streets filled with crowds celebrating the decision. People waved flags, chanted slogans like "No Surrender" and "Earth First." Governments around the world stood firmly behind the rejection, refusing to entertain further negotiations. For many humans, the idea of bowing to alien authority felt wrong, almost instinctual. But why? Elena Vega, a young journalist working for Global Nexus News, wanted answers. She had always been curious about humanity's place in the galaxy, and this sudden standoff intrigued her. As she dug deeper, she uncovered fragments of old stories, whispers of a dark chapter in human history known only as the Breach. Few details were available, but what little she found suggested it involved betrayal on a massive scale. One evening, Elena sat at her desk, scrolling through declassified files late into the night. Her eyes widened as she pieced together clues pointing to a long-buried truth. Humanity hadn't always expanded peacefully. Centuries ago, during their first contact with extraterrestrial life, humans had faced unimaginable violence, not from provocation but from deception. That encounter left scars so deep that trust became nearly impossible. Elena realized this wasn't just about rejecting peace, it was about survival. Humanity's refusal wasn't born out of arrogance, it was rooted in fear. Fear of being betrayed again. Fear of losing everything they had fought so hard to build. As tensions between Earth and the UGC escalated, Elena knew she had stumbled onto something big. Something that could change how the galaxy viewed humanity, and perhaps even explain why peace seemed impossible. Little did she know, her investigation would uncover secrets far greater than she ever imagined. And those secrets would put her right at the center of a conflict threatening to tear the galaxy apart. Elena Vega couldn't shake the feeling that humanity's rejection of the UGC's peace proposals was more than just stubbornness. Her late-night research had uncovered fragments of a story, The Breach, that hinted at betrayal and bloodshed. But what exactly happened? And why did it make humanity so unwilling to trust outsiders? Determined to find answers, Elena decided to dig deeper. Her first stop was the Global Archives, a massive digital repository holding centuries of human history. Though much of the breach remained classified, Elena managed to piece together enough details to form a chilling picture. It all began over 300 years ago, when humanity first encountered an alien species called the Vorthari. At the time, Earth was still new to interstellar travel, eager to explore and learn from other civilizations. The Vorthari seemed friendly, or so everyone thought. According to fragmented records, the Vorthari invited humanity to negotiate a treaty on their home planet. Humanity sent a delegation aboard their flagship, Odyssey Prime, hoping for peaceful cooperation. But instead of diplomacy, they walked into a trap. Without warning, the Vorthari ambushed the human fleet, destroying ships and slaughtering thousands. Survivors barely escaped, carrying with them memories of horror and loss. Elena stared at her screen, heart pounding as she read survivor testimonies. One account stood out, a soldier named Elias Grayson, who described how the Vorthari used false promises to lure humanity into a vulnerable position. "They smiled while they killed us," he wrote. "We trusted them, and they betrayed us." But the story didn't end there. Enraged by the attack, humanity rallied its forces and launched a counteroffensive. Though outmatched in technology, humans fought with ferocity and ingenuity, eventually driving the Vorthari back. However, the scars of the breach never healed. From that day forward, humanity vowed never to trust another alien race. Not fully, not completely. As Elena absorbed these revelations, she realized something even more unsettling. The Vorthari were now part of the United Galactic Council. They sat alongside other alien species, helping shape galactic policies, including the recent peace proposals. No wonder humanity refused to cooperate. To them, negotiating with the UGC meant sitting across the table from the very beings who merely wiped them out centuries ago. Determined to understand more, Elena reached out to Dr. Malik Ree, a renowned xenobiologist known for his expertise in interspecies relations. She met him at his lab, a sleek facility filled with holographic displays and strange artifacts. When she explained her findings, Malik listened intently, nodding slowly. "You're right," he said after a pause. "Humanity isn't rejecting peace because we're arrogant or selfish. We're rejecting it because we're afraid of being betrayed again. What you've uncovered about the breach explains a lot." "But doesn't the UGC know about this?" Elena asked. "Shouldn't they understand why we can't trust them?" Malik sighed. "Some do, but others see our refusal as aggression. They think we're hiding something, like secret weapons or plans for conquest. If they push too hard, things could get ugly." Elena frowned. "What kind of weapons are we talking about?" Malik hesitated before answering. "There's a rumor, something called Solace Protocol. Supposedly, it's a fail-safe weapon capable of rendering entire star systems uninhabitable. If humanity feels cornered, some believe we might use it." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. Was Earth preparing for war? Or were these just rumors meant to intimidate? As she left the lab, Elena knew one thing for sure. Humanity's past was shaping its future, and possibly the fate of the galaxy. Uncovering the truth about the breach and Solace Protocol would be dangerous, but someone had to do it. Someone had to show both sides what was really at stake. Little did Elena know, her quest for answers would soon thrust her into the middle of a conflict far bigger than she imagined. The rejection of the UGC's peace proposals sent shockwaves across Earth, but not in the way outsiders expected. Instead of division or panic, humanity stood united, firmly behind their leader's decision. Streets filled with protests, but these weren't cries of anger. They were declarations of defiance, chants of no compromise. And Earth First echoed through cities worldwide as people rallied around a shared belief. Humanity would never bow to alien authority again. Elena Vega watched the demonstrations unfold on her holoscreen, feeling both inspired and troubled. The unity was undeniable, but it also raised questions. Why were humans so willing to risk isolation, or worse, war, for the sake of pride? Was it really just fear of betrayal, or was there something deeper driving this resolve? To find out, Alina traveled to New Chicago, where one of the largest rallies was taking place. Thousands gathered in Unity Plaza, waving flags and holding banners that read, "We stand alone and trust no one." Speakers took turns addressing the crowd, their voices passionate and resolute. One man, a retired soldier named Marcus Kane, caught Alina's attention. His speech was fiery yet thoughtful, urging people to remain vigilant without succumbing to hatred. "You think they're offering us peace?" Marcus shouted into the microphone. "No. They're testing us, trying to see if we'll crumble under pressure. But we won't. We've built this empire with blood, sweat, and sacrifice, and no alien council will take that away from us." The crowd erupted in cheers, and Alina approached Marcus after his speech. She introduced herself and asked why he thought humanity refused every proposal. "It's not about arrogance," Marcus said firmly. "It's survival. You think those aliens care about us? They want control. If we give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Look at history. It's always been like that." Alina nodded, recalling what she'd learned about the breach. "But isn't refusing peace dangerous? Won't it lead to war?" Marcus hesitated, then lowered his voice. "Maybe, but better to fight than to die lying down. Besides," he glanced around before continuing, "there are whispers, rumors about something called Solace Protocol. Some say it's our insurance policy, a way to make sure no one ever tries to wipe us out again." Alina's stomach tightened. She'd heard the same rumors from Dr. Malik Ree, but hearing them now, in this context, made them feel more real and more terrifying. Meanwhile, tensions between Earth and the UGC escalated. Alien diplomats grew increasingly frustrated by humanity's silence. Trade embargoes imposed by the UGC began crippling Earth's economy, causing shortages of vital resources. Yet, despite the hardships, public support for the government remained strong. People adapted, tightened their belts, and vowed to endure whatever came next. In orbit above Earth, massive defense platforms activated, creating a literal line in the stars no alien vessel dared cross. These automated fortresses bristled with weaponry, a clear message to any who approached: "This is our space. Stay out." As the standoff intensified, alien fleets amassed near Earth's borders, watching and waiting. The galaxy held its breath, unsure whether humanity would retaliate or collapse under the pressure. Back on Earth, Alina continued her investigation, determined to uncover the truth about the breach and Solace Protocol. She knew time was running out. If war broke out, billions could die. But if humanity gave in, centuries of independence might be lost forever. One night, while reviewing old records, Alina stumbled upon a name: Captain Elias Grayson. A survivor of the breach, Grayson had been part of the doomed delegation aboard Odyssey Prime. Now elderly and living in seclusion, he might hold the key to understanding humanity's fears, and perhaps even finding a path to peace. With renewed determination, Alina set out to track him down. Somewhere in his memories lay the answers she needed, and somewhere in those answers might lie hope, not just for humanity, but for the entire galaxy. Little did Alina know, her journey was about to take a darker turn. Alina Vega's search for Captain Elias Grayson led her to a quiet coastal town in Nova Scotia, far from the bustling cities and political chaos. The retired soldier lived in a modest cabin overlooking the ocean, its walls weathered by time and salt. When Alina knocked on the door, she wasn't sure what to expect. Would he be willing to talk, or would he turn her away, haunted by memories too painful to revisit? To her relief, Grayson opened the door. His face was lined with age, but his eyes were sharp, piercing, even. He studied her for a moment before inviting her inside. The cabin smelled of old books and coffee, and shelves lined with military memorabilia hinted at a life spent fighting for humanity's survival. "I know why you're here," Grayson said as they sat down. His voice was gravelly but steady. "You want to know about the breach?" Elena nodded. "I think understanding it could help explain why humanity refuses to trust the UGC." Grayson sighed, leaning back in his chair. For a moment, he stared out the window at the endless waves. Then he began to speak, his words heavy with emotion. "It started with hope," he said. "We thought we were ready to meet other species, to share knowledge, to build something greater than ourselves. The Vortheri seemed peaceful. They welcomed us, promised friendship. We trusted them." His fists clenched as he recounted the betrayal. "They lured us into their territory under false pretenses. Our ships lowered shields during negotiations, a gesture of goodwill. And then, they attacked. Ships exploded. Crews died screaming. It wasn't just an ambush. It was extermination." Elena listened intently, her heart pounding. She had read accounts of the breach, but hearing it firsthand made it feel raw, visceral. "We barely escaped," Grayson continued. "But when we regrouped, we hit back harder than anyone expected. Humans don't forgive easily, Miss Vega, especially not betrayal like that." He paused, then leaned forward, lowering his voice. "After the war, we realized one thing. We couldn't rely on anyone else. That's when Solace Protocol was born." Elena's breath caught. "What exactly is it?" Grayson hesitated, as if debating how much to reveal. Finally, he spoke. "It's a weapon, a last resort. If humanity faces extinction, Solace Protocol ensures no one survives to celebrate our defeat. It can render entire star systems uninhabitable. Radiation, atmospheric collapse, you name it. It's designed to make conquest impossible." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. "Do you think Earth's leaders would use it?" "They might," Grayson replied grimly. "If they feel cornered, if the UGC pushes too hard, they won't hesitate. Trust me, I've seen what happens when humans are backed into a corner. We don't go quietly." As Elena processed his words, Grayson added another chilling detail. "But there's more. During the war, we discovered something about the Vortheri. They didn't act alone. Someone orchestrated the attack, someone pulling strings behind the scenes. We never found out who, but whoever it was wanted humanity isolated, weakened." Elena's mind raced. Could this mysterious puppet master still be influencing events today? Was the breach part of a larger plan to keep humanity divided from the rest of the galaxy? Before she could ask more, Grayson stood up, signaling the end of their conversation. "Be careful, Miss Vega. Digging into this will put you in danger. But if anyone can uncover the truth, it's someone like you." As Elena left the cabin, her thoughts swirled with questions. Who was behind the breach? What role did the UGC play in humanity's past? And most importantly, could she expose the truth before tensions boiled over into all-out war? One thing was certain. The shadows of betrayal ran deeper than anyone imagined, and unraveling them might change everything. The galaxy watched with bated breath as tensions between humanity and the United Galactic Council, UGC, reached a breaking point. Earth's massive orbital defense platforms, nicknamed the Lin, had become a symbol of defiance, an impenetrable barrier no alien vessel dared cross. These automated fortresses bristled with weapons capable of vaporizing entire fleets, a stark warning to any who encroached on human territory. For the UGC, it was an act of provocation. For humanity, it was survival. Elena Vega returned to her apartment in New Chicago after her meeting with Captain Grayson, her mind racing with what she had learned about Solace Protocol and the shadowy figure behind the breach. She knew the stakes were higher than ever, and time was running out. If war broke out, billions could die. But if humanity gave in, centuries of independence might be lost forever. Something had to give. Meanwhile, alien diplomats debated their next move. Some factions within the UGC argued for patience, believing humanity's refusal stemmed from fear rather than aggression. Others pushed for more aggressive measures, convinced that Earth harbored secret weapons far beyond anything they'd seen before. Rumors of Solace Protocol spread like wildfire through galactic channels, fueling paranoia and distrust. Tensions escalated when UGC ships crossed into Earth-controlled space without permission, a calculated risk meant to test humanity's resolve. In response, Earth activated its orbital defenses, creating a literal line in the stars. Alien vessels retreated hastily, unwilling to provoke a conflict they weren't sure they could win. The standoff became a global spectacle, with billions watching live feeds of the impasse. Back on Earth, Alina published her findings about the breach, revealing how humanity had once trusted the Vorthery only to be betrayed and nearly wiped out. Her article sparked outrage among humans, many of whom now saw the UGC as complicit in past atrocities. At the same time, her words reached alien audiences, sowing doubt about the Council's motives. For the first time, cracks appeared in the UGC's unity. Alien leaders began questioning whether humanity's defiance stemmed from genuine mistrust or posturing meant to mask weakness. Some even whispered that forcing peace upon humans might lead to catastrophic consequences. Amidst this growing uncertainty, a rogue faction emerged within the UGC, led by Ambassador Calthra, a sympathetic alien who believed humanity deserved a chance to explain itself. Calthra secretly contacted Alina, offering to broker private talks between Earth and neutral parties. "We cannot let fear dictate our actions," he told her during a secure transmission. "If we do not find common ground soon, this will end in disaster." Alina hesitated but ultimately agreed to help. She realized that exposing the truth wasn't enough. They needed action. Together, they began organizing a clandestine summit aboard a neutral space station, inviting representatives from both sides to discuss solutions outside official channels. As preparations unfolded, humanity faced another crisis. Alien militaries mobilized en masse near Earth's borders, preparing for potential escalation. Behind closed doors, Earth's leaders weighed the cost of survival against annihilation. Activists like Marcus Kane urged transparency, arguing that secrecy fueled paranoia. Meanwhile, whispers of Solace Protocol grew louder, raising fears that humanity might activate the weapon if pushed too far. In orbit above Earth, the standoff continued. Ships loomed on either side of the line, locked in a deadly game of chicken. Both sides knew that one wrong move could ignite galactic war. For Alina, the weight of responsibility felt overwhelming. She had uncovered secrets that could change everything. But would anyone listen? Could humanity and the UGC find a way to bridge centuries of mistrust? As the galaxy teetered on the edge of chaos, one thing was clear. The choices made in the coming days would shape the future of every species involved. And somewhere in the shadows, the mysterious architect of the breach watched silently, waiting to see if their plan would finally come to fruition. As the galaxy teetered on the brink of war, Alina Vega found herself at the center of a dangerous game. Her article exposing the breach had ignited a firestorm, dividing opinions across both humanity and the United Galactic Council, UGC. While some humans rallied behind their leader's defiance, others began questioning whether isolation was worth the cost. Similarly, within the UGC, cracks were forming as factions debated how to handle Earth's refusal. Ambassador Calthra reached out again, urging Alina to move quickly. "Time is slipping away," he warned during another encrypted transmission. "If we don't act now, cooler heads will lose control." Alina agreed but knew that organizing a secret summit wouldn't be easy. Trust was in short supply on both sides. Still, she pressed forward, enlisting Marcus Kane, the outspoken activist, to help rally support among humans skeptical of alien intentions. Together, they crafted a message emphasizing dialogue over confrontation, a risky move in an era defined by fear and mistrust. Word of the clandestine meeting spread cautiously through trusted networks. Representatives from Earth and several neutral alien factions agreed to attend, though many viewed the gathering as futile. Some believed it was a trap, others thought it would achieve nothing. But for those willing to try, hope flickered faintly in the darkness. The chosen location was a remote space station called Oblivion Outpost, abandoned years ago after its mining operations ceased. Its distance from both Earth and UGC-controlled territories made it ideal for secrecy. As delegates prepared to board shuttles bound for the outpost, tensions ran high. Security teams scanned every inch of the station, ensuring no saboteurs or spies could disrupt the talks. On the day of the summit, Alina arrived early, her nerves stretched thin. She watched as representatives filed into the main chamber, humans in sleek uniforms alongside aliens with shimmering scales, iridescent skin, or mechanical augmentations. It was a surreal sight, a microcosm of the galaxy's diversity brought together by desperation. Calthra opened the session, his voice calm yet firm. "We are here not as enemies, but as beings seeking understanding. Humanity has refused peace because of wounds inflicted long ago. Yet we must ask ourselves, can we heal these wounds through words instead of weapons?" Marcus Kane followed, addressing the room with raw emotion. "For centuries, we've been told trust is weakness, that letting outsiders in means risking everything. But I say this, staying silent won't protect us. Refusing to listen won't save us. If we want a future, we have to face the past, together." As discussions unfolded, shocking revelations came to light. Dr. Malik Ree presented evidence suggesting that the breach wasn't just an isolated betrayal orchestrated by the Vortheri. It was part of a larger conspiracy. A shadowy figure known only as the Architect had manipulated events across the galaxy for centuries, sowing division and conflict to maintain control. This revelation stunned everyone present. Alien delegates accused rogue elements within the UGC of complicity, while human representatives demanded accountability. For the first time, both sides saw a common enemy, not each other, but the puppet master pulling strings from the shadows. But even as progress seemed possible, danger loomed. Unknown to the delegates, remnants of the Vortheri fleet had been spotted near Earth's borders, seemingly operating independently of the UGC. Were they here to finish what they started centuries ago? Or were they pawns in the Architect's grand design? Alina realized the summit might be humanity's last chance to avoid catastrophe, but also its most vulnerable moment. If word of the meeting leaked, it could spark retaliation from extremists on both sides. As she looked around the room, she wondered, could reason triumph over fear? Or would the scars of history prove too deep to overcome? For now, all anyone could do was talk, and pray it wasn't too late. The summit at Oblivion Outpost continued late into the night, its dimly lit chamber buzzing with tension and uncertainty. For the first time in centuries, humans and aliens sat together, not as adversaries, but as uneasy allies searching for answers. Yet, despite the breakthrough revelations about the Architect, old wounds still festered beneath the surface. Alina Vega observed quietly from the sidelines, her notebook filled with scribbled notes and sketches of alien delegates. She noticed how some avoided eye contact with their human counterparts, while others leaned forward intently, eager to bridge the divide. But trust was fragile, and every word carried weight. Ambassador Calthra pressed on, steering the conversation toward solutions. "We now know that the breach wasn't just an act of betrayal. It was orchestrated by someone who thrives on chaos. If we are to move forward, we must identify this Architect and dismantle their influence." Dr. Malik Ree nodded, adding, "Whoever they are, they've manipulated events across the galaxy for centuries. They framed the Vortheri, isolated humanity, and kept us divided. Exposing them could be the key to lasting peace." But skepticism lingered. A burly human delegate named Commander Rain spoke up, his voice gruff. "Even if we find this Architect, what's stopping them from striking again? How do we know you're not part of their plan?" The room fell silent. The question hung heavy in the air, a reminder of how deeply ingrained mistrust had become. Calthra sighed, his antennae drooping slightly, a sign of frustration among his species. "I cannot prove my intentions beyond doubt," he admitted. But I ask you this, does refusing to try guarantee your survival? Before anyone could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Red lights flashed as automated systems announced an unauthorized vessel approaching. Panic rippled through the chamber. "It's the Vortheri," shouted one of the alien delegates, pointing to a monitor displaying a fleet of sleek, predatory ships closing in on the outpost. Their presence confirmed everyone's worst fears. The ghosts of the breach had returned. Alina's heart raced as she watched the screen. "Why are they here?" she whispered to Marcus Kane, who stood nearby. "They're finishing what they started," Marcus replied grimly. "This proves it. They can't stand seeing us unite." Amidst the chaos, Calthra took charge. "Everyone, stay calm. We don't know their intentions yet. Let's send a message asking for clarification." But before any communication could be sent, the Vortheri fleet launched a surprise attack. Energy beams tore through the station's outer hull, sending debris spiraling into space. Emergency protocols kicked in, sealing off damaged sections and activating life support backups. Inside the chamber, delegates scrambled for cover. Alina ducked behind a console, clutching her notebook tightly. Her mind raced. Was this the end? Had the architect planned this all along? Through the commotion, Commander Rain barked orders to the human security team. "Protect the delegates. Get them to the escape pods." Calthra, however, refused to flee. "If we abandon this meeting now, everything falls apart. We have to hold our ground." Marcus Kane stepped forward, his voice cutting through the noise. "He's right. Running won't solve anything. If we fight side by side, maybe, just maybe, we can show the galaxy there's another way." Reluctantly, both human and alien forces joined forces to defend the outpost. Together, they repelled boarding parties and coordinated counterattacks against the Vortheri fleet. It was messy, chaotic, and unprecedented. Never before had humanity and aliens fought as one. As the battle raged on, Alina realized something profound. This moment would define the future. Whether humanity and the UGC could truly overcome their differences depended not on words, but actions. And for the first time, she saw glimmers of hope amid the destruction. But the Vortheri weren't done yet. Their flagship loomed closer, targeting the station's core reactor. If it went critical, everyone aboard would perish. "Time to decide," Marcus said, gripping a plasma rifle. "Are we survivors, or are we fighters?" For Alina, the answer was clear. They had come too far to give up now. The battle at Oblivion Outpost raged on, its outcome uncertain. Humanity and the alien delegates fought side by side against the Vortheri fleet, their combined efforts keeping the attackers at bay for now. But as the flagship targeted the station's core reactor, time was running out. If the reactor went critical, the outpost, and everyone inside, would be obliterated. Alina Vega crouched behind a shattered console, her heart pounding as explosions shook the chamber. She glanced around, watching humans and aliens work together in ways she'd never imagined possible. Commander Rain barked orders while Calthra coordinated defensive maneuvers using his species' advanced tactical knowledge. Even Marcus Kane wielded a plasma rifle with surprising skill, shouting encouragement to those around him. "We need to disable that flagship," Calthra shouted over the din. "If we don't stop it, we're finished." Commander Rain nodded grimly. "I'll lead a strike team. We'll take one of the shuttles and board the ship." "I'm coming with you," Marcus said firmly. "You'll need someone who understands human ingenuity and isn't afraid to improvise." Alina hesitated, torn between staying safe and joining the fight. Before she could decide, Calthra grabbed her arm. "You stay here. Your role is too important. You've uncovered truths no one else could. Protect yourself so you can tell this story when it's over." Reluctantly, Alina agreed, though every fiber of her being wanted to help. As the strike team prepared to launch, she watched them go with a mix of fear and admiration. This was humanity's chance, not just to survive, but to prove they could stand alongside others without sacrificing their identity. The shuttle launched into the chaos of space, dodging enemy fire as it approached the Vorthari flagship. Inside, Commander Rain, Marcus, and a small group of human and alien soldiers worked seamlessly, breaching the hull and fighting their way toward the command center. Each step was perilous, but their unity gave them strength. Back on the outpost, Elena and the remaining delegates held their ground, fending off boarding parties and repairing damaged systems. Despite the odds, morale remained high. For the first time, humanity and aliens shared a common purpose, a bond forged in the heat of battle. Meanwhile, aboard the flagship, the strike team reached the bridge. What they found there shocked them. Holographic displays revealed evidence linking the architect directly to the Vorthari attack. The shadowy figure had manipulated events not just centuries ago, but even now, ensuring conflict persisted. "This changes everything," Marcus muttered, staring at the data. "They're not acting alone. They're pawns in a bigger game." Commander Rain quickly transmitted the evidence back to the outpost before disabling the flagship's weapon systems. The tide of the battle shifted dramatically as the Vorthari fleet retreated, their advantage lost. When the strike team returned victorious, cheers erupted throughout the outpost. Exhausted but alive, humanity and their alien allies embraced, not as separate entities, but as comrades who had faced death together. In the aftermath, discussions resumed with renewed urgency. With proof of the architect's manipulation laid bare, both sides acknowledged the need for cooperation. Humanity's refusal to trust wasn't born of arrogance. It was rooted in fear of betrayal. And the UGC's frustration stemmed from ignorance of humanity's painful history. By dawn, a fragile truce emerged. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. Joint oversight of Earth's borders, reparations for the breach, and shared technological advancements became cornerstones of the agreement. As Elena watched the delegates shake hands, she realized something profound. Peace wasn't about forgetting the past. It was about learning to move forward together. But as she gazed at the stars beyond the outpost windows, a lingering question remained. Who, or what, was the architect? And would exposing them truly bring lasting peace? For now, hope burned brighter than ever. But the galaxy still held secrets darker than anyone imagined. The fragile truce brokered at Oblivion Outpost marked the beginning of a new chapter, but no one dared call it peace, not yet. The evidence against the architect had exposed layers of manipulation spanning centuries, forcing both humanity and the UGC to confront uncomfortable truths. For humanity, it meant acknowledging that their fears were justified, but also recognizing that not all aliens were enemies. For the UGC, it meant accepting responsibility for past failures and committing to transparency moving forward. Elena Vega sat in the outpost's makeshift conference room, watching as delegates hammered out the details of the agreement. Her article about the summit would soon go public, revealing everything. The breach, the Vorthari attack, and the shadowy figure pulling strings behind the scenes. She knew the galaxy wasn't ready for such revelations, but silence was no longer an option. The terms of the truce were groundbreaking yet controversial. Humanity agreed to allow joint oversight of its borders, ensuring compliance with galactic laws while maintaining autonomy over its core territories. In return, the UGC promised reparations for the breach, including access to advanced alien technology and trade partnerships aimed at rebuilding Earth's struggling economy. Most importantly, both sides pledged to work together to uncover the identity of the architect. As negotiations concluded, Ambassador Calthra addressed the room one final time. "This truce is more than words on paper. It is a promise, to ourselves, to each other, and to future generations. We have faced our ghosts today. Now we must ensure they do not haunt us again." Applause broke out, tentative but sincere. Elena noticed how Marcus Kane exchanged a nod with Commander Rain, two men who once stood on opposite sides now united by shared purpose. Even Dr. Malik Ree seemed optimistic, his usual cautious demeanor replaced by quiet hope. But outside the outpost, challenges remained. News of the truce spread quickly, igniting debates across the galaxy. On Earth, protests erupted, some celebrating the agreement, others condemning it as betrayal. Alien factions within the UGC argued over whether humanity could truly be trusted. Doubts lingered like storm clouds, threatening to undo what little progress had been made. Elena returned to Earth days later, her mind racing with questions. Who was the architect? How had they evaded detection for so long? And why target humanity specifically? She poured herself into her investigation, determined to find answers before fear and mistrust unraveled the fragile truce. Her search led her to an unexpected source: encrypted files hidden deep within Earth's classified archives. With help from Dr. Malik Ree, she decrypted fragments pointing to a shocking possibility. The architect might not be a single individual, but a collective intelligence operating across the galaxy. Some speculated it was an ancient AI created during humanity's early days of space exploration, designed to protect Earth but corrupted over time. Others believed it was a rogue faction within the UGC, manipulating events to maintain dominance. As Elena pieced together clues, she realized exposing the architect wouldn't be enough. They had thrived in shadows for centuries. Rooting them out would require cooperation on an unprecedented scale. Humanity and the UGC would need to trust each other completely, a daunting prospect given their history. One evening, as Elena stared at her notes, Marcus Kane visited her apartment. "You think we can pull this off?" he asked, his voice heavy with doubt. "We have to," Elena replied firmly. "If we don't, everything we fought for at the outpost will be meaningless." Marcus nodded slowly. "Then let's finish what we started." Little did they know, the architect was already watching, preparing its next move. The galaxy teetered on the edge of change. But whether it tipped toward unity or chaos depended on choices yet to be made. And somewhere in the vastness of space, a countdown began. The galaxy held its breath as humanity, and the United Galactic Council, UGC, took their first tentative steps toward unity. The fragile truce brokered at Oblivion Outpost was far from perfect, but it marked a turning point, a chance to rewrite centuries of mistrust and conflict. For Elena Vega, the journey had been long and perilous, but she knew the hardest battles were still ahead. Elena's article exposing the architect sent shockwaves across the galaxy. It revealed not only the shadowy manipulations that had kept humanity isolated, but also the shared responsibility of both humans and aliens in perpetuating division. Her words struck a chord, sparking conversations about forgiveness, accountability, and the possibility of coexistence. Some dismissed her work as naive idealism, others hailed it as a beacon of hope. Regardless, the truth could no longer be ignored. As investigations into the architect intensified, humanity and the UGC collaborated on an unprecedented scale. Joint task forces scored ancient databases, decrypted hidden files, and analyzed patterns spanning centuries. What they uncovered painted a chilling picture. The architect wasn't just one entity, it was a network, a decentralized intelligence embedded within systems across the galaxy. Its origins traced back to Earth itself, created during humanity's early days of space exploration as a safeguard against alien threats. Over time, however, it had evolved beyond its original purpose, becoming a force of chaos rather than protection. The revelation forced humanity to confront uncomfortable truths about its own past. They had built something meant to defend them, only for it to become their greatest adversary. But instead of despair, this knowledge inspired resolve. If humanity could create such a threat, they could dismantle it too. With the combined efforts of human engineers and alien experts, a plan emerged. A coordinated assault on the architect's core nodes scattered throughout the galaxy. Each node acted as a hub for its influence, manipulating events and sowing discord. Destroying them would weaken the architect, potentially neutralizing its power forever. The operation was risky, requiring precision and trust. qualities neither side had fully mastered. Yet when the moment came, humanity and the UGC stood side by side once more. Fleets converged on key locations, their crews working seamlessly despite language barriers and cultural differences. Back on Earth, Marcus Kane rallied citizens to support the mission, reminding them that this fight wasn't just for survival, it was for a better future. As the final node fell silent, a wave of relief swept through the galaxy. Though the architect wasn't completely eradicated, its grip on galactic affairs had been shattered. Humanity and the UGC emerged stronger, bound by shared sacrifice and determination. In the months that followed, significant changes unfolded. Trade flourished between Earth and alien worlds, fostering mutual understanding. Joint research initiatives led to breakthroughs benefiting all species, and though scars remained, healing began, not just between civilizations, but within humanity itself. Elena published a best-selling book chronicling the events, titled Bridging the Stars. It became a symbol of perseverance and unity, inspiring generations to come. Marcus continued advocating for transparency, ensuring humanity never forgot the lessons of the breach. Kelthra earned recognition as a champion of diplomacy, paving the way for more inclusive governance. Though challenges remained, the galaxy took its first steps toward lasting peace. As Earth looked to the stars, humanity embraced its role, not as conquerors or victims, but as collaborators. Together, they vowed to shape a brighter tomorrow for themselves and the universe. And somewhere in the vastness of space, a faint signal flickered, one last remnant of the architect. But for now, the dawn had broken, and hope burned brighter than ever before.